The only thing that's between us and the Cheesecake Factory is this fucking interview, so get it done.
Take one. Kris, we've been good mates for a long time. In one of my videos,
Speak for yourself. Yeah.
in one of my videos, I said you got me here. We didn't want to talk more about the 3 years the first 3 years, but we made it. We made it to the 60th.
I'm surprised that you did.
Made it to the 60th.
Uh-huh.
Think about it. It was 40th back then.
Yeah.
What number do you think we'll make it to?
100.
Okay.
I think the century.
Well, Gaz on the other side said there's no way we're making it to that. But anyway, we wouldn't expect anything else from the negative cunt. But besides the point, Unmatched. You're here at the Olympia.
Uh-huh.
Unmatched. You've been in the health optimization space for a while. You've been one of the top online coaches in the world for a long time. Unmatched. Tell me the story behind it. Why did you come out with it, and why now?
So I had a previous brand, as you know, and I had two co-founders that I was partnered with as well, and they wanted to take that brand in a different direction to what I wanted to do. So I decided I'm going to walk away and I'm going to start my own thing. And I always wanted a brand that was completely naturally sweetened. And there was a lot of novel ingredients that were coming to the market, maybe not in the US, that I wanted to bring to the US market as well. And Unmatched was that opportunity to do that. So for instance, we only launched 4 months ago. We're in Vitamin Shop now here in the US, but I wanted something that not only was naturally sweetened, but I wanted to if we had protein, I wanted it to be grass-fed. And we use that from cows from the UK, grass-fed whey from the UK, which is freaking expensive at the moment. And then I wanted to come out with a commodity called creatine, which is creatine combined with GAA, guanidinoacidic acid. And when you combine that together, it's more neuroprotective. You get better it's more of a nootropic, but it's very protective of the brain as well. It gets absorbed through 4 different pathways into the cell as opposed to monohydrate to the one. And then I didn't want caffeine in any of the products because of the cortisol effect, because of the diuretic effect, because a lot of people are like slow caffeine metabolizers. So we use a metabolite of caffeine called paraxanthine in our pre-workout. So, that's just a little bit of what we're doing, and we're bringing something different to the market. And the formulations really didn't take that long because we knew what we wanted to put in them. It was the testing that took a little bit longer, but it was the sweetening of the products that took a hell of a long time. A couple of, my business partner and the formulator honestly didn't think that we'd be able to do it and make it taste good without using sucralose or ACE-K or something like that. But we stuck it through, and I'm really, really glad that we did, because the response so far has been really, really good.
So, coming from obviously Uncaged, what are some of the lessons you learned? Because there's a lot of people going to ask, well, Kris, what's the difference? And you're probably getting asked that question already, right?
Yeah.
What's the difference? How have you sort of moved from Uncaged and go, at Unmatched? So not Uncaged.
Uncaged. Keep
Fucking
going.
hell.
Unwanted.
Unmatched. But so what are the biggest differences? Obviously, you got rid of the sucralose, and you bought grass-fed and all that kind of stuff. But what did you say you were going to do differently on Unmatched that you would not, like, this is the line in the sand, I'm not going to accept these things anymore?
Yeah, well, number one, like I'd say the biggest thing, because I know that cortisol is a killer. Heart disease is the biggest killer in the world. And a lot of it is due to cortisol. And a lot of people are lacking in sleep, they're stressed, they're in front of their phone or device, always spiking their cortisol or dopamine levels. And I wanted to get away from caffeine. That was one aspect, but it was very important for me that I was to go into partnership with people who actually live this life. My previous partners necessarily weren't as far into like the bodybuilding lifestyle as I am. And my co-founder Doug now is. Like, when I first went into the HQ that Doug has, everybody was like, it's huge. It's a big facility, but everybody was just around this little table. That's how they work. It's like a very close-knit family. And you look at them all, and they all work out. They all live this life. And, as a lot of people know, that Doug Miller was a 2-time natural world bodybuilding champion, absolute freak. Competed in Jay Cutler's show here in Vegas against all the enhanced guys, completely destroyed them as well. And he lives that life to this day. He'll probably never step on stage again, but he's meticulous. He writes down all of his meals, write down all of his workouts to this day. And I'm like, if someone is so meticulous about themselves and their health and their appearance, they are really meticulous when it comes to the supplements and what goes into the products. And that's the kind of partnership that I really wanted, because I didn't feel I was able to sleep at night for the last couple of years with the previous brand because of all the stresses that were going on. And I wasn't enjoying it anymore. And I just wanted this to be an enjoyable process, something that felt like, okay, we're providing a purpose, we're providing more value to people, as opposed to take. And this is, it's been very, very refreshing for me. It was very difficult to leave, and it's probably 2 years in the making, but it was sleepless nights.
I remember we were having a conversation a couple of years ago on how you felt. How hard was it to find a business partner that was aligned with you? Because that's not easy in itself.
Yeah.
Did you know him for a long time? How did that sort
Yeah,
of formulate?
I'd known Doug from the industry. Didn't know him really well, but I knew him, and I'd communicated with him a couple of times. And more than anything, I started asking people that knew him and worked with him to get their opinion, not telling them that I was thinking about going into business with him. So I spoke to Julian Smith, for instance, who has his brand Arms Race, co-founded with Doug. And nobody had a bad word to say about Doug. Everything came back positive. I spoke to a few other people about possible partnerships, but it just aligned with Doug. As soon as I got on the phone with him, as soon as I met with him, had a conversation, and I know that a lot of people, a lot of IFBB pros, a couple of them, past Mr. Olympias here, had spoken to Doug about creating a brand with them before, but he had no interest because they just didn't align. Not that they were bad people or anything like that, but it just didn't align. But when we met, everything just kind of clicked, and it definitely aligned, and it seemed rude for us not to do something together.
And obviously, we were just talking before off camera. You've been on the road for 10 months. How do you balance it all? I mean, it's not easy to be able to balance all the different businesses that you're involved in. How do you balance all of that with what you're doing with Unmatched? And I know you're very, very passionate about supplements, especially this new brand. You've always been like that. For as long as I've known you, you've always been the type of guy like, what's the next thing? I want to know the next thing. I want to get that extra edge. How have you been able to balance the last, 10 months being on the road and being able to do all the work?
It's I've been getting too used to it, and that's a crazy thing, because a lot of people say, "God, it must be difficult, whatever." Yeah, it is difficult, but you get used to it, and that's what I'm scared of now. I'm getting a little bit too used to it, so I'm purposely been saying no to stuff next year because, for instance, like my wife, she wants to have a wedding celebration because we haven't had that. During COVID, we went to the courthouse with our masks on or whatever and did it that way. But the thing is, by the time she's like, "Oh, when are we going to do it?" My year's booked out. And, I've actually enjoyed the travel to a certain degree because a lot of it has been going to anti-aging conferences and speaking there. And I really like that community, and it gives me a lot of motivation and passion. And you get a lot of opportunities based on who you meet there. So I have enjoyed that. But the fact that I'm getting a little bit too used to all this travel tells me that I need to pull it back and not travel as much. I've been able to balance it. I'm always training. I always focus on my training and my nutrition. And if I lack in sleep, which I do sometimes, okay, so be it. I still got to move, because then you deal with the jet lag and you're just exhausted. If I move and just stay focused, I don't get the jet lag. And I'm able to do a talk the next day after I land or whatever. So based on the fact that it's getting a little bit too habitual, I'm going to say no to a lot of things and use the opportunity of being back in Boise more as the focus, because I think to myself, in a form of, I'd say, scarcity, where I'm thinking, okay, if I stay here, I'm going to miss out on these opportunities, not really realizing the opportunity is actually to be at home and be present and allow time to slow down again. Because the last 2 years has just gone way too quick because you're on the road all the time.
2 years ago, we were talking about you getting on the road and traveling the country. You said you're going to do that in your 50s. You just turned 50.
Yeah.
Is that plan still?
What, to go out in a motorhome?
Yes.
It is still as
Is
a
it?
plan.
Yeah.
Still as a plan, yeah. We just need to figure out when.
Next year?
When we're going. I don't know about next year, because I want us to travel on our terms. I want to go to Australia. I want to go to Rome. There's a couple of other places that we've spoken about that we want to go to. Want to go back to Romania and whatnot. So that's the plan for next year. It won't be in a motorhome, but that's still in the future. We still talk about that.
Well, Kenny was asking, when's Kris coming out to Australia? fuck, I don't know. I go, I don't even know if he's been home this year for 10 months.
Yeah.
How does it feel like all of us being back together? Because
It's
it's
cool,
been
man.
2 years.
That's the one, when a lot of people say to me, oh, is it exciting going to the Olympia? They ask, always the last couple of weeks, leading up to it. And I'm like, do you know what? I just want to go and hang out with my buddies because we don't see each other very often,
No.
and that's the part that you miss. And it's like, when you do see each other, even if we haven't seen each other for like a year, you just carry on like you just saw each other yesterday.
Yeah.
We kind of get sick of each other after like 3 hours.
Don't you miss the most?
Oh, of course it's you guys, because I know you're not going to be around much longer.
But that's the thing. Like we're in the fitness industry. We run a lot of businesses, but we love being around each other because we're like-minded in terms of the laughs we have, and the banter we have between each other. How important is that?
It's very important because I don't get much of it really at home. I'm not really. God, I'm not. What do you say? I'm not. Yeah, I'm not social, am I? I'm definitely antisocial. I'm not really social, But
Fucking hell.
but yeah,
How is that for
I'm
you?
a little bit more of a hermit. Like, my wife's the socialite. She wants to go out, whatever, and I'm the boring guy. Like, I don't know. I've got more acquaintances, I'd say, at home than real quality friendships. Back in the US, it's just how it is. So this connection is very, very important to me. I get this connection like it's my family. I get that connection when I go back to Wales. I don't get it so much in the US. So this is very important, not even talking about, the aspect of the friendship and the connection, but we know that's associated with longevity and health span. And that's definitely the part that I miss out because I do all the biohacks except that biohack of connection, because if you look at all the blue zones where people live to a disproportionate age, centenarians, if you look at Okinawa, and you look at Sardinia and Yorba Linda and Costa Rica, where these people live to that disproportionate age in good health, over 100 years old, they all have social connection. They all sit down and have dinner with their family and stuff like that, And I know that I miss out on that bit, quite substantially. So I think these connections are very important. A good friend of mine, Dr. Dom from Germany, he's really good. Every 6 weeks he goes on a holiday. Like, he just got back from the US a couple of weeks ago. He's going to be in Dubai in a couple of weeks. He always takes these mini breaks and he's very, very successful, but he forces himself to do that to allow himself to come back with more passion, more enthusiasm, more creativity. So I need to take a
Does he
leaf
take
out of
his
his book.
family and kids?
Takes his family and kids as well.
Wow. So
Yeah.
every 6 weeks he's.
Every 6 weeks he's on a
And
holiday.
how long does he go for?
He was in LA for a month.
Wow.
I don't know, how long is he going for Dubai for? Do you know? A couple of weeks? Yeah, a couple of weeks.
Wow. And how long has he been doing that for? That's interesting.
Years.
Years. Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Fucking hell. I'm gonna have to try and get that on my calendar. But we talk about that, and we talk about getting on the plane, and sometimes it does become a lot of dead space on that plane where you're thinking, you're starting to question things about your life and what you're doing. But then we're sitting here, and the people are going to be watching this, and they've got the sphere in the background, and they're going to go, "These guys are fucking complaining."
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yeah. And the thing is, when you're on the plane, I actually enjoy that because I don't always connect to the Wi-Fi, so it's like no one can contact me during this time, which is really good. But I know, going through all the X-rays, the radiation, the time zones, the lack of sleep, I am going to these parts of the world to speak about longevity and health span. But I know by doing all this, I'm actually accelerating my biological age. So I'm actually contradicting what I'm trying to put out there. But I know it is for the greater good to try to spread the good word and be that health evangelist. But I have to prioritize myself and kind of try to reduce my own biological age again before it starts accelerating.
But is there such thing as a balance? Like, we talk about Dr. Dom,
Yeah.
and he's done extremely well. And it seems to me like that's a very, very balanced life that he's created for himself. How did he even come about that? Because you talked to him a fair bit. Like, how did he say, "Well, I'm going to make this change and this adjustment"? Because it's not that easy for people to make those adjustments.
No, I think he does it both for him. It's a little bit different for him because he has 4 kids and his wife takes care of the kids and takes care of a lot of things. Like, I've stayed at his house and she's basically got 5 kids, including him.
Wow, yeah.
And like when they were in LA, they were staying at an Airbnb. So she basically said, I've just basically taken myself from home and now I'm in another home in LA because I'm still cleaning up and I'm still cooking, blah, blah, blah. I need to now have a holiday. So that's why he's taken her to Dubai, because they go to Dubai quite often so they can stay in a hotel and have everything done for him. So he does his holidays because like in LA, he was still flying to Texas, doing podcasts everywhere. He was on Max Lagave's, had, you know, a lot of big podcasts. So he was still kind of working a little bit and had the balance with the kids. But now he has to do everything for his wife. Steffi's absolutely lovely, and the kids. So she gets a break as well. So it's a bit of both, I think. There's a bit of balance between those. He doesn't have to travel as much as me, you know?
Yeah. Okay, so this weekend, obviously, you're going to be at the expo. What are we expecting from Unmatched? Who you got there?
We got tattoos, baby. We're tattooing.
Really?
Yeah, so the
Guys, you're
you
gonna
didn't
get
know
a
this.
tattoo.
Yeah, you're gonna
You're
get
gonna get a tattoo, bro.
an unwanted tattoo. That'll look good on you, mate. It'll look really good
What
on you,
can we
actually.
expect, bro?
Be very fitting.
Yeah.
So we're exhibiting there. I'm going to be on a couple of other booths as well from sponsors, but this is obviously we're only just launched 4 weeks ago. So this is our big launch, basically, on the main stage here at the Mr. Olympia. So Friday and Saturday. But the tattooist who did my Unmatched tattoo, I don't know if you've seen it yet.
I was saying, I got worried about that
Yeah.
one as well.
Yeah, and I got the U here. So we were at an event in New Jersey a couple of weeks ago, and someone just said, "Hey, can you sign my leg?" And what else did he ask me to write? Face fear, I think it was. Yeah, face fear. And he got it tattooed that night and tagged me on it, you know? So I'm like, let's actually offer tattoos here. If anybody wants to have a tattoo, so I got the same tattooist, straight balling, who tattooed me. He's going to be there this weekend. And I said, if anyone has a tattoo, and we'll give them options. They can have unwanted, be harder to kill, whatever. I'll pay for it. And I'll give them a free year's worth of pre-workout as well. So that's what we're going to be doing at the booth. And Sunshine's going to be twerking as well. If anybody pays me $10, I'll get it to twerk for them, you know. So it'll be a good time, you know. And I really hope I have the opportunity to go around the expo as well and have a look around. And we got people from China, the UAE, the UK that's meeting with us as well that want to have the brand in their. We just need someone from Australia to take on the brand, and then we're good to go.
Well,
we actually did have some interest. I'll speak to Patrick when you meet him this week. He's speaking to somebody. We'll run it by you.
Yeah, 100%. Question from the audience?
He just said unwanted.
Did he?
Yeah.
So if somebody
No, unwanted for you.
Yeah, for you.
Unwanted for you.
Yeah.
No, you said if somebody wants a tattoo, they can get unwanted. Or
Oh, did I? Yeah. Okay. Well, they can have unwanted as well.
Like Gaz. Have you got any questions, audience?
Any questions from the audience?
I think we covered a lot. And okay, we're going to ask about your beautiful wife, man. Simple. She's been a good person. She's a really nice
She's
person.
put up with me, isn't she? You know?
Started as average, but blossomed into sunshine.
Yeah, I molded her. I got her in pretty good shape, hey. What do you think?
Actually, you are looking really good. I'm not gonna lie.
Thank you.
You are. You've done something different. Is there any plastic surgery or anything? No, nothing.
Got off the
3 times a week.
She got off the vegan train when I met her.
Ah,
She was vegan, and man, that does look mad. She was vegan, and she was running, and yeah, that's what she thought was a good diet, was some bloody hummus and seeds.
so it's safe to say hummus and seeds, eh?
Yeah, that's what she cooked me. First time I went round, she's like, "Well, I don't have much," so she put some seeds in a frying pan. I was like, "Oh, thanks."
How long have you been together for now?
8 years, is it?
8 years.
8 years.
8 years. Bloody hell.
So
Yeah.
the 7-year itch is over.
Yeah.
This is the tough period right now because anything can happen.
This is the easy bit. Now I
it?
can let myself go. Yeah.
At what age?
Yeah.
At what age is she gonna just stop like saying, you're boring? Because she says it all the time.
No, she says it right. Yeah, she says it all the time because she wants to go out. I'm like, I got to be in bed by 7:30, babe.
Well, that's what you said tonight. So let's do this interview early.
Yeah.
Eat, or you're gonna watch Mr. McMahon. That's what it's
I
called.
might have to watch a little bit about
You
that
have
in
to.
bed. Yeah, for
You
sure.
might not stop watching it once you start.
Yeah. Well, we're watching a really good show at the moment, and it's a true story. You know, I have to watch this. What's it called? Monsters. It's based on a true story.
The Mendez brothers.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Have you seen it?
No, I've seen their story come up in.
documentary.
Yeah.
No, I actually seen the interviews come up with Diane Sawyer.
I don't know.
And they were
But there's a
interviewing-
TV show on it now. Boy, it's good.
yeah,
They were
there's a
a
bit more, yeah.
nasty pieces of work.
Yeah.
But man, they had a bad upbringing.
Yeah, yeah. So
So it's
that was simple,
justified, I
yeah.
guess. You know.
Well, Kris, I'm looking forward to the weekend. We're going to do a lot of interviews there. I'll interview Sunshine.
Tattoo?
Look,
I'll pay for it.
My mum doesn't like.
I'll give you pre-workout, man.
He should do it. He
get it. but
he
I'm
needs a tattoo. He needs something.
Something that you're a punk, mate.
I'm concerned it's going to go tits up.
Sex Pistols.
Yeah, guys should have it.
20 years, then I'll get it done.
Get the Chelsea Hotel tattooed on you.
Guys, you've known him for a while. Chris is always on the go. He loses his wallet like me. He loses his phone. I've lost. Like I can get it. I understand him. What do you think happens to us
What do you mean?
when
Why-
we're losing
why we
everything?
lose stuff.
Yeah, but why?
I don't know, maybe you're excited. I don't know.
I think it's because he's a father figure to us, and we know that he'll take care of us. If we lose stuff, we've got Gaz.
You done really well in Melbourne when I was there recently. Well, thanks a lot, brother. I wish you all the best with Unmatched. I'm a massive supporter of yours. Always have been. I've always talked highly of you, even though you don't think so. And most of the time, it's not. It's a lot
It's
less.
not true.
It's a lot less. But thanks a lot. We're going to be there at the Unmatched booth. We're going to interview a lot of your people there. Obviously, your ambassadors, your business partner,
Doug Miller.
I'd
They
love
call
to
him
interview-
Drug Miller.
Mate, I seen his biceps. He's fucking big biceps.
That's why they
big
call
cunt.
him Drug Miller.
But mate, this weekend I was around Sai. Fuck, how big are his arms?
Who?
Sai.
Sai.
His
They're-
fucking
they're
arms are massive, man.
Yeah, look at his quads, dude.
Fucking hell,
Oh,
man.
yeah. Anyone got
Massive.
any baby oil?
Got
Yeah. I was
I've got
gonna say,
heaps.
he's getting excited over here.
about 1,000. Thanks a lot.
All right, brother.
Thank you.
Thank you, my man. Appreciate it. We'll see you in Australia next
For
year.
sure, we have to.
You heard it here.
We have to.